Jesus says to them, that was what is written, what the house of the Lord was supposed to be, what the temple was. It was the house of the Lord, and it was supposed to be a house of prayer for all nations. He says, but you have turned it into a den of thieves, which harkens back to the book of Jeremiah. As I said, it's a reference to the 7th chapter of Jeremiah. Jeremiah speaks of the people of his own day that they have stolen, they do all these things, they break all of what we would call the 10 Commandments, and then they come into the house of the Lord thinking that the Lord will overlook it. He says, you've turned my house into a den of robbers, or a den of thieves. And in Jeremiah's day, the idea was that what they were doing, they were doing this outside the temple and then coming into the temple to try to cover it up. But by the time that Jesus is speaking here at the Passover, the people have become so brazen, shall we say, that they're actually robbing people inside the temple. It's not even a sacred place even from that anymore. He says this was supposed to be a house of prayer for all nations, but you have turned it into a den of robbers. Instead of the Gentiles seeing the light of the Lord, what they're seeing is your iniquity. They're seeing the fact that you have profaned the name of the Lord by stealing in His house. Because it is widely understood where they were doing this, they were selling, in all probability, these sheep and goats and pigeons and so forth for sacrifice, but they were ripping, we would say they were ripping people off. They were scamming people right there in the temple. And this area at the temple where this was being done was what was known as the court of the Gentiles. This was the place Gentiles could come in there, and this is as far as they could come. And instead of you being a light to the Gentiles, you're ripping them off. You're not doing what it is God has called you to do. So he goes in there, and you might say he cleans house with those who are exploiting the Gentiles. You're supposed to be a light to them, but you're being the exact opposite. They're not seeing the light of the Lord from you. They're just seeing you profaning His name in here. You have, essentially that's what he's telling them. You're mocking Him. You're mocking the Lord in a real sense, and you're making Him look bad. You're offending His honor, we might say. And so he cleans house in there. And of course, as you might imagine, the powers that be there were not too happy about that, and they will be very upset with Jesus. And we know, of course, what happens at the end of the week with His crucifixion, as they are hollering to crucify Him. There was many reasons, obviously, for that, why they were opposed to Him, but this was obviously one. Just by the way, as they had hated Jeremiah in his day. Jesus says, just as you hated the prophets and just the way you treated them. And Jesus even tells the parable of that, of the man who owned the vineyard, and they mistreated his servants, and then finally they killed his son. Well, that's the same thing as that. In fact, he gives that as the interpretation that God had sent the prophets and they mistreated them, and then finally they mistreat his son and kill him also. So that's just one of the stories, events that happens during the Holy Week. Well, I'm going to go this way. Here you can see a bunch of, you can see my shadow here. You can also see a bunch of pine cones running around here. Ooh, almost tripped on something. Right over there is where I'm parked at. That's my truck right there, and then somebody's camping right next to where I'm parked at. So I'm going to cut this off here. Hope everybody enjoyed this little trip again, and the sort of reflection upon Holy Week. And maybe if I do this more this week, I'll discuss it some more of the events in that last week of Jesus' life. So I hope everybody has a blessed day whenever it is you see this. And if you see this after Holy Week, the message obviously remains the same regardless of what time of year it is. So I hope everybody has a blessed day, and I appreciate everybody who's watched, and hope you have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.